Today we're looking at the latest stability option from On. It's the On Cloudrunner 2. And if you ran in the original Cloudrunner, I want you to put old memories of that shoe out of your mind because the Cloudrunner 2 is completely different. Let's get into it. Let's get started with those disclosures. This video is in cooperation with my friends over at Roadrunner Sports. And full disclosure, this pair of the On Cloudrunner 2 was sent to me for the purpose of review. However, no one has told me what to say. No one other than me has any editorial privileges, and all the thoughts and opinions are my own. With that said, you can pick up a pair of the On Cloudrunner 2 at Roadrunner Sports for $150. And of course, I'll place links in the show notes below in case you want to pick up a pair for yourself. Alright, let's dig into some specs. The On Cloudrunner 2 has 31 in the heel, 21 in the forefoot for a 10mm drop. On claims that a US men's size 9 would tip the scale at 9.7 ounces or 275 grams. However, in my size, a US men's size 13, it tips the scale at 11.6 ounces or 329 grams. Now, I don't know if you think that is heavy or not, it's actually not, but if you are looking for a stability shoe, which this is, it's a daily trainer with mild stability, then you might be looking at some of the competition. And in my size, the On Cloudrunner 2 is 52 grams lighter than the Nike Structure and 38 grams lighter than the Asics Gel Kayano 30. So if we're comparing stability apples to apples, the On Cloudrunner 2 is a light shoe. The On Cloudrunner 2 does fit true to size. It fit me just the way all other On shoes and most other brands fit my foot. I didn't have to go up or down any sizing. And if you do like to put custom inserts in your shoe, you are able to remove the sock liner and put in your sock liner of choice. Now you guys can see it just as well as I can. On has knocked it out of the park with the aesthetics of their shoe again. I'm sure it's going to get to a time where I don't have to mention that every time I review a pair of On shoes, but today is not that day. On does make good looking running shoes. That said, the On Cloudrunner 2 is definitely putting out some casual lifestyle, almost dad shoe vibe, but I gotta say, I'm here for it. Now, the On Cloudrunner 2 is a daily trainer with some stability elements built in. So this is a stability shoe, but it's not that harsh controlling stability that you might think of when you think of stability shoes. This is super comfortable, and as a neutral runner, I really appreciated running in it. So I don't want you to rule it out if you don't need a stability shoe. This was still very comfortable to run in. But my impressions after running in this shoe for several weeks was that because it looks the way it does, it's very well-rounded. And I kind of thought to myself that this could be a shoe that someone could bring with them if they only wanted to bring one pair of shoes. So you could wear this with a pair of jeans, and then you could change into some shorts and go for a run in the same pair of shoes. It's also comfortable enough for all-day wear, and perhaps if you're traveling and space is at a premium, you don't want to pack several pairs of running shoes. Gotta say, I think the Cloudrunner 2 would actually work. But enough about how this shoe looks. Let's get started with the performance side of the review, and let's start at the top and work our way down like we always do. You can see we've got a very plush heel collar. This is super comfortable to put your foot into. The back of the shoe just hugs around your heel, and that's for a couple of reasons. Obviously, we've got this plush heel collar, but the heel counter is super rigid. No surprises there. Remember, this is a stability shoe. We've also got this extra heel clip right on the back, and that is also just making sure your heel gets a good lockdown. There's going to be no movement. This shoe is holding you in place. But just to repeat myself, I didn't feel like the stability was imposing itself on my running style. It just felt like a very supportive running shoe. But if you need it, these stability elements are here. The upper is a lovely Swiss engineered mesh, and it's made with 100% recycled materials, which is certainly admirable. I think we're very quickly getting to a point where running shoe uppers are all going to be 100% recycled materials. But for now, it's something that they've got to advertise, and I am happy to see that they're using 100% recycled materials in their upper. Now, we already talked about how plush that step-in feel is, and it's not just about the heel collar padding. We've also got a nicely padded tongue, and On has done a pretty good job with this. It's definitely got the thickness of a daily trainer tongue, but they haven't gone over the top. It's just nicely comfortably padded, and that padding extends all the way down. And if I hold this up, you can see this lace loop goes from the top of the tongue all the way down to the vamp, and the tongue is gusseted on both sides. So needless to say, the tongue is not going anywhere when this shoe is locked down. Now, there's a few more elements in the upper that is going to add the support that you may need if you're looking for a stability shoe. Again, if you don't need it, it's just going to be a bonus. But on the toe box, we've got this nice breathable bit of mesh. We've got some overlays coming around the toe box. Now, usually shoes have their support as underlays coming around the toe box, but it's nice to see On using this as an aesthetic element. We've got some reinforced tape, just adding structure to the toe box, and then some reinforcements on the sides. Now, what you can't see from the camera, which I can describe by showing you, is that On has also made this part from about the midfoot all the way back very rigid. I'm not sure if I hold this up, if I can actually press this and show you, but we've got the soft mesh here, and then as we go back, it transitions into a much more rigid material here. And it's the same on the lateral and on the medial side. And this is just providing that support for your midfoot. So when you lock down those laces, the upper hugs the sides of your foot, and there's no way that your foot is going to roll within the shoe. It works pretty well. And then as overlays coming along the eyelet chain, On has added almost like a felt element, although I really doubt it's felt. But it looks like felt, and it looks pretty good. And then On has added these gold or tan laces, which to me is the most standout thing on this entire shoe. I think the laces are just the cherry on top of the cake. I think they look really sharp with this white colorway. Anyway, coming down to the midsole, you can see that On is using their Cloud Tech cushioning, except this time the Cloud Tech cushioning actually feels like it's cushioning your footfall. Because in the Cloudrunner 2, On has changed this midsole foam to their Helion Super Foam. And what's more, they've also removed the speedboard. The original Cloudrunner had the speedboard, the Cloudrunner 2 does not. And that changes the ride completely. So when I said that if you've run in the original Cloudrunner, I want you to put that out of your mind because the Cloudrunner 2 is nothing like it. That's why. Cloudrunner 2 is a very soft and plush ride. Another change to the Cloudrunner 2 can be seen if we come down to the outsole. Now this whole midsole setup is very On. We got the outsole rubber here at the forefoot, good amount of outsole rubber here on the heel, and the exposed midsole in the middle. But where On used to have an exposed channel, they have now closed it in. And ultimately that's going to stop the shoe from picking up rocks as you're running. This is both a very small and a huge change. So as far as ride goes, guys, I've already said it, it's a plush ride. In fact, it was surprising to put on and go for a run because I did expect it to be a little firm. But over the last couple of years, On is certainly getting away from that super firm ride, and they've been embracing their Cloud Tech. And I think the Helion Super Foam is the one to thank in this instance because it really is a nice foam. It's responsive, it's light, and it feels good underfoot. Now, this is a daily trainer, but I would definitely keep this shoe for those easier runs, and it's soft enough that it would work well for recovery runs. So as a daily trainer, this is going to be the shoe that you put on for your bread and butter mile. Yes, you could pick up the pace and do strides in it. I did that once, but this shoe certainly has a lane, and that lane is recovery and easy runs, and it works phenomenally well when it stays in its lane. Did you run in the original Cloudrunner? Whether you did or you didn't, are you thinking of picking up a pair of the Cloudrunner 2? Drop a comment and let me know. And with that, it's Matt B. This has been my review of the On Cloudrunner 2. Be kind, be happy, run well. I'll see you in a couple of days.